all systems go. Clear for liftoff. What's up, everyone? Tyler Tamboline here, a.k.a. ToeTagginTambo, back for another edition, Thursday Night Football Showdown show here on the Mayo Media Network. We got the Mayo Media Network, SHIPIT Nation, YouTube collaboration. Excited to get back to it. Thank you guys for joining us. Hit that like on the way in. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already. We'll do a little bit off the top. We have a couple of pretty good giveaways, actually. I was just double checking on my phone. We got our guy DFS Juice is giving away $300 to members. So it's three $100 prizes, but we're going to have those in the Discord after. So if you're not a member, the time is to join is now. Get into it and join the nation. We've got the Marino jersey, which I'm going to show off in a second, autographed. That is, we'll show that one off. And then we've got a couple big ones coming up that we're going to lump together. I'll just toss it in a second. But first off, want to bring everybody in, remind you this show is brought to you and presented by runthesims.com. If you haven't yet done so, go over to runthesims.com. Use promo code SHIPIT to get 10% off. We will have the Sim segment at the end, as always, where we break down. You guys give us the scores you think that are going to happen. We're going to look into those. I know everyone's going to say the same thing. Ugly game, horrible, just got worse. Josh Jacobs downgraded to doubtful. Still got to work with it. We've seen these slates work out pretty good when it comes to DFS in some cases. Certain nights that we've had these ugly games, get some unique lineups up there, some solo shippers, all kinds of stuff. But Hoop, I'll bring you in, man. Going on another Thursday, more football. We've got a big Saturday slate this week too, 3 games. So we'll have another show tomorrow talking about that, you and I.
Yeah, a lot of action moving forward. You got the UFC pay-per-view event this weekend. We got the 3-game Saturday slate, the full NFL slate. We got the FanDuel football live final. We got the DraftKings football live final. It's a busy weekend for sure. And it kicks off tonight with, what is, looks like a shitty game for sure. And, a lot of both quarterback or one of the quarterbacks out in Herbert. It looks like Jacobs is going to miss. He's listed doubtful. So you got a 3K running back that's going to get like all the work. So, there's different angles here. I'm not absolutely hating this game. You have some high volume guys and Austin Eckler and Devontae Adams, 2 unknown quarterbacks, which, should keep people off them. Maybe a little bit. I don't know. It's not the worst. And, prize pools are big, like we always say. So, we'll go through, follow our process here. We'll talk through it on this show. We'll get the content up nice and early for you guys over at shipitnation.com so you can digest it and then get in the Discord and ask any questions that you may have. But, looking forward to getting this week started, man. It's, not too many more of these NFL weeks ahead of us, so we gotta savor all that we have left here.
Gotta make the most of what we got here right now. I agree. That's definitely the main thing that we're focused on. We're gonna get to the show as usual. I'm gonna bring Title in soon with that custom background. I'm gonna let them think of a little story to tell about this background to the people because they're all commenting on it in the chat. But real quick, show you guys the giveaway first. Not much more beyond this stuff to talk about. I want to talk about giving back. Talk about giving back. Our guy Chris. OKGR, I forget the numbers in it, but it's a member over at SHIPIT Nation that's giving this away, not even us personally. He said, give this away, have some fun with it. Let's keep growing this community. That's what it's all about. So thank you so much to Chris. But just to check it out, you can go to our Twitter at SHIPIT Nation. It's right there near the top. Do you want to win this autographed Dan Marino jersey? I think Hoop wants to keep it. A lot of people want to win it. It's very nice. You can frame it. You can give it away for Christmas. You can do whatever. You can wear it if you wanted to, but it's in plastic. I don't even know what size it is. But all you have to do is like the post, repost it, follow us, and that's it. You're in the draw. But and there's Chris right there. What's up? What up, guys? He says, if you want to do more and get bonus ballots, you go over to the SHIPIT Nation YouTube station. I know that we're on Mayo Media Network right now, but you go over here, you can see it. It's up. We're getting there. 4.84K. We're going to hit 5K before Christmas, and that's going to unlock the annual giveaway where we're giving away a $599 12-month membership, all access to our site. We got our guy Nevs, who also gave back. He's giving away a 6-month membership. And then the aforementioned DFS Juice, who's giving away $100 to 3 members to play in the $100 single entry this weekend for NFL. We're going to give those away, like I said, in the Discord some. And tomorrow's show, he's also giving away a 6-month membership as well. He had a huge night the other night. So just a lot of stuff going on as far as giveaways. But if you haven't yet done so, get over to the Ship It Nation YouTube station for the bonus ballots in the Marino draw. You just have to subscribe to our YouTube channel over there and comment #ShipIt on the video of your choice. Title, bring you in, man. What's going on? Special background over there. Real special background.
Yeah, I'm in Wisconsin, back at the parents' house, so you can see a lot in my background in the room I'm at. Hoop got a little glint or a little look at it, and I'm like, yeah, the Ship It Nation looks a little better. We don't need protection behind.
I like the natural. I kind of like the natural. You should switch over at some point to the natural background.
Yeah, maybe throughout the show we'll see. I know Perry likes it right here. Oh, I love this comment. Gave my students the rest of the block off so I could listen. What a teacher right there. Tingus right here while they're working, watching the show while they're working. It's that time of year. The holidays coming up.
That is the first a teacher live in class, like giving the kids, like they could. I mean, the kids should be thanking the Ship It Nation crew over here. Now they don't have to do any work for the afternoon. That's huge.
And this was a real quick note. I love all those comments. And Sean said it just now. Sean Sullivan, great member. Appreciate the support as always. Said DFS Juice is the man. This is the first win when DFS Juice turned $18 into 80K, but I'm not sure if you guys
look at that poor guy in seventh. Look at that poor guy in seventh.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about that guy. This is the great story though. DFS Juice is a huge Will Levis guy. He won that money on a big Will Levis game, I believe. And then he goes, yeah, I stuck with my process. I played him all the way through. I haven't won much on him lately, but then on the other night on the 2-gamer, he plays them again and rolls them out for like another 50K plus. He goes, yep, just stick with your guys. That's how you do it. And shout out to Drea. I missed you too, Drea. We haven't seen you for a minute. We always appreciate you. I saw you in the Discord earlier today or yesterday and missed you there, but nice to see you here. Thank you guys all for watching. Title, anything else you want to bring up, man? If not, you can get to your – I'm interested to hear a grand scheme overview for this game in particular, but please take us into it, my man. What do you got?
Oh, gosh, it's a gross one. I mean, 2 backup quarterbacks. I'm not even convinced Aiden O'Connell – like if he comes out and plays poorly in the first half, like Pierce wasn't even sure it was going to be him until late yesterday. So I think Jimmy G definitely could make an appearance if it's ugly early. On the other side, yeah, we saw Easton Stick. He actually looked okay. He has a little rushing upside as well. So I definitely prefer him over O'Connell. No Jacob. So we get White priced under Abdullah, which is very interesting. Last week, we get the Austin Eckler. They're going to ride the hot hand. Isaiah Spiller, Joshua Kelly. It was pretty much Eckler, hardly any Kelly, some Spiller. Kelly's way mispriced. I mean, what a weird slate. What I do know is we got to get Hoop to go get on that Hunter Renfrow jersey because he's back, baby. He is on the field.
Really?
He is the number. He took over the number 3 finally. He was getting work in that second half last week. And, yeah, I like me a little Hunter Renfrow.
5, 4, 5. All right.
He's back, man.
I'll be back in a few. Don't mind if I do. You don't have to tempt me.
Yeah, love it.
Also, Easton Stick, for those that don't know, like Tokyo Swan says, can't be a real human. I don't know if he is. He's actually a hockey stick. So shout out to all my Canadians out there growing up, the goalie stick, the Easton ones, and now they got the Synergy GX. We could do a whole ad for this. Get off Manscaped today and bring up the Easton Stick. But
I used to rock the O stick, Tambo. What you know about the little O stick?
I don't know nothing about hockey, man. I'm the worst Canadian. People know that. I always say it, but I think it's funny. His name is literally a hockey stick out there, so it's pretty funny in that sense. But you brought up like Jimmy G. We've already got, like you said, so Herbert on the IR, Keenan Allen out, Jacobs downgraded to doubtful now. We got all kinds of stuff going on there. We're going to get to Hoop's opinion first, but just off the top, Title, while he's taking a quick break, we'll go there like in reverse now. But like captain-wise, do you think people are just going to condense the captain heavy today and just say forget it, or are they going to stretch it out a little bit because it's some uncertainty in other places and they know that there's going to be more condensed ownership on some of these big name guys that we have left over?
I think it has to be condensed because it's just so gross to click some of these names. Salary isn't a big issue. You have Devontae, you have Eckler, and then I think it's going to probably be Zamir White just because he's the lead back and he's so free that allows you to do a lot of stuff. So I think you click any captain name outside of those 3. I mean, not that you can just jam in all the chalk, leave $0 and be good, but you'll be different right away outside of those 3 is how I see it.
Yeah, Hoop, kick it back to you. I know you went and got the jersey, so you can show that off for those that don't know the story. But then also, your just thoughts on how you think this game's actually going to play out with the setup that we've got here.
Feeling good, and the Renfro jersey fits well. It's one of the nice ones too. It's like got the stitched on like letters and stuff. So the guy that sent it to me, like I don't know, the story from last year was funny because I don't know, we were on a show and I said if he got over 25 or something, I'd get a jersey, and he went off for like 36. And you can't find the jerseys. Like you couldn't even order them online. You actually had to like go to the stadium and buy the jersey. I was on a show. I was just like, hey, if someone can go to the stadium and get me a jersey, that would be great. I ended up getting like 5 Renfro jerseys, so I kind of gave them away. But that was very nice of the listeners to go take care of that. What was the question?
Well, I was gonna say it's one thing for certain is it's like you literally need to have the jersey to remember who this guy is, or even why you have the jersey, because it's unnecessary otherwise completely. It's like you one thing to buy like a Debo jersey when he gets 3 touchdowns or something, but like Renfro, come on. The question was, how do you actually see this game playing out? We're going to apply it to DFS when we go throughout the captain talk, the position by position, all that stuff, FanDuel differences there, etc. But what do you really see happening here tonight in this game, the way we have this set up now and what we know with the news?
I don't know. I don't have an answer to that question, to be honest with you. I could see a variety of things happening. I mean, it's a team in the Chargers. I mean, just a super disappointing season. Their head coach is an absolute idiot. I mean, I just don't understand how that guy continues to be the head coach of the team. And then on the Raiders side, I mean, they're playing better ever since they fired their coach. And, no Josh Jacobs tonight, I think in terms of DFS leads to a situation where we're going to see just a lot of very common type builds. It's going to be a lot of Eckler. It's going to be a lot of Devontae Adams. It's going to be a lot of Zamir White, and it's going to be a lot of the quarterbacks. They should soak up, a large majority of ownership, because it's going to be easy with Zamir White in there to play the high-end guys. So we'll talk like some strategy behind that. I think there's some things we can do to, get those teams to look a little bit different than the rest of the field. But in terms of like what happens in this game, like the score, who wins, I have no freaking clue. I'll be honest with you.
Okay, then let me ask you this, because we're going right into captain. I'll let you segue there. But how are you building out then based on, all those unknowns you just said? I asked Title when you weren't here about just kind of the captain setup here. It has to be a night where it just condenses heavy at captains for everybody, because there's so many unknowns that at least people will feel safe with that. So how are you handling the captains, and how are you building based on everything you just said?
All right. So, I just went and ran the 150. We've kind of been doing in that show, just not changing anything, just running it and seeing what we get. And we got, it looks like about 75% between Eckler, White, and Adams in the captain. So those guys are soaking up all the ownership in the captain if you just naturally run your teams. It's easy to play the high-end volume guys like Eckler and Adams when you plug in a guy like White in the flex. And then, vice versa, White is projecting so well for a 3K player, he's going to show up there a lot. So, does that mean anything else is a little bit different today? I kind of think it is, to be honest with you, because I don't see anything else like standing out as guys that people are going to go to in the captain spot outside of those. Like everyone else, even if you look at ownership, is coming in like 7-8% or below White, Eckler, and Adams in those spots. So I think that is a very interesting dynamic on the slate, where if you play anything other than 3 captains tonight, you're going to be relatively different from the field. So I think that's a pretty interesting dynamic on the slate.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to take some shots that way. The other thing I worry about, Title, I'll kick it to you on your captain thoughts, just like the Zamir White thing, obviously makes perfect sense. They're still at home. There's still a spot here now with what, again, we're going to go off the news is downgrade to doubtful to me, as I'm considering out. And then whatever happens. If somehow he got ruled back in, we'll know later, but I'm going to say he's out. That's where the Zamir White situation is going to come in. He's 4,500 at the captain, right? 3K in the flex. Once you put him in, you just add all the same dudes everyone else has. Like, again, you could leave money on the table. If it still gets there, I eat crow. I don't care, though. That's all like I look at. So like for me, it's always hard to get to that situation. And maybe, if you guys convince me enough that that's kind of the spot and that's just going to work that way, then that might be something where, again, I'll play a little bit less, or I'll play different angles to try and cover against it. But man, it sucks when that's the scenario, because then it's kind of just all the same lineups are a 2v2 away, which everyone has that story every night anyway in Showdown. Oh, just one guy off, or I had to just swap these two. We all have the same story when it's one single game out there. It's more important. I like the main slates and stuff, but give me your thoughts here at the captain.
Yeah, if I swap my two guys for Tari Eason and Giannis, I would have been 250K richer yesterday, but
Yes.
fortunately did not do that.
Yeah.
I'm with you though on Zamir White. Like, he's such a strong play, but because of his price at the captain spot, like, I don't really know how I can get different. Like, there'll be teams with Zamir White captain that leave 3,000 that are probably going to be duped 50 times. So I probably am going to get away from that. I prefer the Devontae. I prefer the Eckler captains there. And like I mentioned, Renfro for Hoop, him and Erickson are going to be my cheat captains that I'll mix in from the Zamir White that are going to be very low owned down there that I do think have a chance to outscore him. Erickson took over Jalen Guyton as the number 3 receiver last game. Of course, Keenan Allen out, Joshua Palmer's back. So I still expect Erickson to be the number 3. Renfro took over Trey Tucker's role. He's the number 3. So I think if I'm punting captain, it'll be with one of those two because they're going to be significantly less owned. And I mean, what? They catch a 30-yard touchdown. Renfro's been in the mix. Erickson's been in the mix. If they outscore White, that could be a huge swing. So doubt I get too much White captain. I'll go those two instead for cheap. Otherwise, I don't have much interest in Aiden O'Connell. Like I said, wouldn't be surprised one bit if Jimmy G does come in this game. Easton Stick, I do have some interest at captain. He has some rushing upside, and he looked like, again, solid last week. There's only so many ways. Like, it's not going to be a 120-point optimal win, I don't think. Of course, low total. We said that last week with the Patriots. Steelers in the game absolutely nuked. I don't quite see it like that, but you get 18, 20 points from Easton. He could very well be the captain right there. So interest in him, no O'Connell, Eckler, Devontae, the 2 studs. Outside of that, it's really tough, and I think it's like Gerald, Everett, and kickers for me, which sounds so gross. Everett really outsnapped Parham last week. And the kickers, they fall in that mid-tier build. If it's a low-scoring game, you can see crazy things happen. A 12-piece from a kicker at captain could be enough, and it's going to be very, very low-owned. I prefer kickers over the defense captain. Wouldn't call you crazy if you said defenses as well. I don't like doing it often. I know you guys don't like doing it often as well. It hardly ever wins, but we usually don't see totals this low as well. So what are your thoughts there? Because I'm struggling at captain outside of those.
Yeah, currently interested in both, to be honest, because again, I do see the game more likely to play in the under, and I know we'll see what our group think is here, but the group think's been better lately on the total. They're still, I think, wrong every single time so far on the side, so we'll see when we get there to that angle, but maybe we'll start it off now. It's almost 200 people watching. If you haven't yet done so, smash a like, make sure to subscribe to the Mail Media Network. Keep getting all these free shows and more, but do us a favor in the chat. We've got right now, just pulling it up, the total is 34.5, and the Raiders are favored at home by 3. Give us your side. So who's winning the game and over or under? Let's get that from the chat. Throw that in there and see what we got, because I'm curious to see where everyone's at with it. But I like the wide receivers better. I like Adams better than Eckler also. I probably like Stick better than O'Connell. Like you said, no, I'm not playing Jimmy G as like maybe the backup comes in. Not saying you were, but also I'm saying it's harder to play for that. But I think if it does get locked in on someone, it's going to be Adams. I'll still have some Myers there. I like the wide receivers better. I like Adams better than Eckler. I like the kickers in the D as of right now. And I don't love Zamir just because, again, do I love him? He's probably fine. I don't love my construction that I'm going to get with him. So I'd rather take a chance on, like you said, either some of those other punts or like an Everett, for example, is just fine by me. So I'm actually with you on a lot of the things that you said there that I kind of think there. Hoop, did you have anything else after us talking that you wanted to add there at the captain spot?
Yeah, a couple more that I kind of you touched on. One of the guys at the end, Everett. I think without Keenan Allen, I want to look at some of these Chargers pass catchers. And if they are in a trailing game script, which could be the case, like I see some upsides for those guys. So guys like Everett, I think, are appealing. Quentin Johnson has not been good, but 7 targets. He had 4 targets last game, 3 for 91. So he caught a long 57-yard catch. Moderate interest in him, and then a little bit of interest in Palmer as well, who I guess is by default the number 1 wide receiver for the Chargers tonight. So kind of want some of those Chargers pass catchers in there if they are somehow playing from behind. Maybe trust Stick a little bit more than O'Connell as well. So I don't love the quarterbacks up top. So Adams, Eckler, the high volume guys, Chargers pass catchers, kind of what's standing out to me. And then with Zamir White, especially if you're hand building, make sure you do something a little bit funky in there, because we always talk about it. If you just naturally play him with an optimizer in the captain, you're going to have the same teams as everyone else. And even like Title said, if you think you're being sneaky by leaving salary on the table, probably not. Like you gotta do some weird correlation type stuff that, from the eye doesn't make sense. So that's one piece of advice if you do play White up top.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now, Chargers and over is like the mass thing here. And I know some of it has to stem from last week, right? What happened last week? What was the game? Cincy and
the Pittsburgh Patriots game, you're saying?
Oh yeah.
Remember? Yeah, it went over in like the first half almost.
Yeah,
after
Zappy was
so low. So
Zappy was Peyton Manning.
Yeah, some of that is going to be this scenario here. So the parlay, the people's parlay would be the Raiders by 3 for the side and under the 34.5. But so far, 100% going opposite of the Chargers would be the key. So Raiders win at home by 3 or more is 100% so far in the last 4 or 5 weeks that we've been doing this, or whatever it is now, 2 or 3 weeks, maybe 4 or 5 games, I should say, that we've been doing this. So good to know. That's we got that part solved out. Yeah. Title, I'll go back to you. Do you want to talk more on these running backs? You already spent time on the quarterbacks at captain. Talk to us a little bit more about these running backs. We talked about Zamir White a little bit, the guys behind him, Eckler, what you see out of that. Last week, remember, the talk was it's a battle between, this is probably why the guy should lose his job already anyway. It's a battle between Eckler and Kelly, but go ahead.
Spiller. And
Spiller.
Spiller.
Oh, yeah, and Spiller, yeah.
Yeah, and Spiller outsnapped Kelly, actually. So Kelly's the one that's the easiest cross-off. $6,800. If you play him and win all the money, you'll probably be one of the only ones that play him. It'll be sub 5%. I'm definitely not clicking that button. There's only 4 of them: Eckler and Spiller. Eckler's $11K, Spiller's $3,800, Abdullah's $4,800, Zamir White's $3,000. Now Spiller, I think, is going to be probably sub 5% as well. Abdullah sub 10% because he is more expensive than Zamir White, $1,800 more. And Zamir White looks to be everything I'm seeing and expect. Zamir White's the first and second down back. Abdullah is the 2-minute drill, the third down back. He's a good pass catcher, but doesn't run through the tackles as much. Zamir White's going to be 10x or 8 times higher owned than Abdullah there. I'm not going to be playing much White in the captain, or if any. So I'm going to have some in the flex. I still very well might be underweight in the flex. I'll be overweight to Abdullah, just little things like that. We play one game. You have 6 spots to get different. Little things like that. If he fails, Abdullah can get more work. He probably does. He probably has a good game if Zamir White busts. So I will be playing Abdullah. I don't really love him at the captain, though. I know some people are mentioning him. I'll probably just reserve him for the flex. I have some interest in Isaiah Spiller. Got 6 carries last week. Eckler got 10. Kelly kind of was phased out. All it takes is him falling in the box once. Chargers don't really have much to play. Don't have anything to play for. Not playing Keenan. I think if they were in playoff funds, Keenan would be playing. Now there's no Herbert. I wouldn't be surprised if Staley mixes in some more Spiller. Maybe, I don't even know about Kelly. I think Spiller is the guy he wants to see more of. So overweight Spiller, overweight White in the flex, or overweight Spiller and Abdul in the flex. Give me the backup RBs. Probably underweight White. He'll be very popular. And I'll have a bunch of Eckler, though, in the flex for sure.
Yeah, the other question too, I'm glad you mentioned it because the chat, I think, was talking a little bit of Abdul and the captain. You already touched on it, so I was glad you went there. Hoop, the chat's Abdul is the play of the night. This stuff too, our guy Kevlar, this is like 50-50 to me. You got to go back. I don't know. I don't have the true history in front of me. Go back and look. But what you're saying is what you've seen. Sometimes 2 shitty teams play and everyone's like, they suck. It's going to go under, and it goes out over. Other times it's exactly what we expected, and we give them high hopes, and it goes under. All I'm saying is the chat says this game is an easy over, and I think a lot of it is easy over reaction to potentially the New England and Pittsburgh game last week where it was over easy early on. Hoop, I'll let you go ahead here. Same thoughts. Running backs, anything to add? Like Title broke it down pretty good, I thought, but just if you want to add anything in there.
Yeah, similar mindset. On this slate, I think you just have to embrace Eckler, like in all formats. They're just, who are the other plays like in this game? There's just not many, and so you just have to play him. Probably have to play him at a high rate. Zamir White, in the flex for sure. What you do in the captain. I think you need to be specific about how you handle that, especially if you're hand building. It's a little more easy to do different type things. So if you are hand building, make sure those Zamir White teams just look different, and don't think like I agree. I mean, to bring up Title's point again, don't think by leaving a big chunk on the table, you're just going to be different. You got to like even think beyond that. I think a little bit here on the slate. I'll have some Abdullah. I'll have a little bit of Spiller. And that's about it. Like, am I excited to play those guys? Absolutely not. But just the nature of this slate, like if they find the end zone, one of those guys, it's probably enough to be on the optimum. We're looking at like a 34 total, so got to bring your expectations down a little bit. And if either of those guys, gets in the end zone, you probably need them. So I'll have some.
And all I could do that whole time was think about this play on words, is that if you think it's an easy over, your night could be over easy with egg on your face with that take. So you never know about that, man. You got to think about these things before you move on to the next segment. Title, let's talk wide receivers. I have nothing to add. I think one thing I will add on the running back, I guess, before I fully kick it on these pass catchers, is that, like the chat said, we're building for scripts. Obviously, if you're going to build it up that the Chargers are getting out ahead of themselves and getting out and not ahead of themselves, sorry, getting out ahead of this game and being up front, then we like Abdullah probably even more, right? Coming back the other side, full point PPR, playing a game of catch up. What's your take real quick before you get into the other? Ketchup goes with eggs for some people too, by the way, but just going to the other side, not for me, but I just heard that. The 5-1s, the 4-2s, I know who hates when we go into this segment, but real quick, you and I like this stuff. What do you think the builds are like tonight? Because then like in that scenario, you could have like a 5-1 Chargers, who's the underdog, with an Abdullah as the only guy coming back or something. And again, not saying that's going to be super sneaky, because people that think like that would go there. But at the same time, I don't know how many people are going heavy on 5-1s, for example. So you already could be getting a leg up that way. How do you see the field going as far as builds are concerned?
I think 4-2 Raiders will probably be the most popular with the pricing. Like Zamir White's completely free, so just plug in a free square for most people. Devontae, Eckler. So I think 4-2. 5-1 Raiders, I think might get some. Again, just because a lot of their pricing. 3-3s, of course, always get some. If you go 4-2 Chargers, I think that right away, different construction. 5-1 Chargers for sure, different. Then you can think about like a little less about ownership. If you want to go Zamir White captain, play 5 Chargers with them. If you saw that, I mean, that game script would probably be they jump out early 14-0. He gets the 2 early rushing touchdowns from the goal line. It could work there. Flip it on its head, Abdullah. Like, I don't like him at captain, but if you think Chargers jump out 14-0 in this game, they play from behind the whole time, you could easily see Abdullah captain get there on 5 dump offs. And he gets way more work that way. But yeah, I think 4-2 Raiders will be the most popular. Is terms of what I'm looking at right now. Looking at my initial run, I don't have much 5-1s on either side. I have a good amount of Chargers 4-2 though, so I'm definitely good at that. Did Renfro captain have 4?
He did Renfro captain have 14, 5, and 11. What the fuck? Like, this is, yeah, that's going to be a problem. But I think that's the other angle tonight. Like, that could get me. I mean,
obviously an Eckler, Devontae, a quarterbacks. Like, it's not like you got to play all the bums with them. You can spend some.
But I would say this. Like, I don't know about you, Title. I leave a lot of money on the table generally, sure. But like, I don't. Tonight might be a night where the winning lineup ends up leaving 12-5 on the table. But I'm not going to build any like that. That's the hand builder that just says, "Give me this, give me that," and I'll land on one guy. It's tough for me to get there too. And Kevlar reconfirmed. He said he meant like DST is going to be drastically overowned. What world are you living in? We're in week 15 now. That's every week, and they crush every single slate we talk about. Just ask Hoop. So are they overowned anymore, or are they just the nuts?
Man.
Who knows? It's continuously a nonstop thing. Also, I disagree. Not on your point. It's correct. I'm just saying I would disagree tonight that you're not going to get a lot of opportunities with guys like Aiden O'Connell and with Easton Stick. They're going to really just let them do it out. Like, they're going to see what they can do. Like, who cares? They may as well keep seeing what they can see out of O'Connell. If somehow Garoppolo got in, he's definitely going to be chucking it around. And then on the other side, and they have no running back really. Zamir White is their lead guy, and then Abdullah and stuff from behind that can make mistakes that way. And then on the opposite side, Easton Stick is definitely going to be like, people talking about he has a cannon. Watch this, watch that. It might be 3 INTs, a couple of fumbles. Like, who knows what it's going to be. So I actually think there's more opportunity than not tonight versus some of these other slates where you would expect them just to hand it off and give it to the guy behind them. So I don't know. We'll see. That's my take on it originally. Go ahead, Title. I'll kick it back to you just on these pass catchers. We know Adams will be popular. And one extra thing I would add, your point on the 4-2s. I think you're right, though, because you got even just captains in general. Zamir White, Davante Adams. If people were going to a secondary receiver here, it's probably still on that side with Myers. I think they would still take that shot, maybe feel more comfortable about a quarterback than picking some of these dudes on the Chargers side where it's hard to say who really is going to be that guy. And with Palmer coming back and all this, like, I don't know. So give me your thoughts here at wide receiver, but I do think you're right on the captains and the builds.
Yeah, Carlson's a little cheaper than Dicker is. Renfro's down there. That's what I'm seeing as well. As far as receivers, I mean, pretty much if you just say the depth chart, on the Raiders side, it's Devontae's the 1, Jacoby's the 2, Renfro's the 3, Trey Tucker's the 4. On the Chargers side, probably Palmer 1 coming back. It's him and Quentin Johnson. And then it's Jalen Guyton got moved to the 4. Alex Erickson out-snapped Jalen Guyton last week. Of course, no Keenan Allen. Palmer's making his return. I wouldn't be surprised if he's on a little snap count. I don't know. I'm trying to see if anyone's got any beat writers.
I couldn't find anything more on it, but I agree with what you were saying. I do think we're still going to see him locked down a little bit just tonight for time-wise.
Yeah, first game back in a while, and it's like, what are they playing for? And they have these, like, they have Guyton they can run out. They have 2 tight ends. So, I mean, I think his ownership, I don't know. What Palmer probably, because his price at 6'2", wide receiver, I'll probably be around the field somewhere. I think he'll probably be somewhere around 30%. I think that's fine in the flex. Don't love it as much at the captain. I like Alex Erickson I like Hunter Renfrow. Give me these wide receiver 3s. They're so cheap. Everyone's going to White down there. They're going to be on the field, man. Catch a couple passes, fall in the box, and the whole slate can flip on its head. So I'll be playing both of them, probably in captain and flex. And again, it's a lot of pivot off of the Zamir White, who's going to get so much ownership. Quinton Johnson, good with him. Man, Jacoby Myers, though, it's been rough with Aiden O'Connell. Like, I wish Jimmy G. He's so much better with Jimmy G. I think he's the one, my least favorite. Seeing that ownership, I think I'd rather just take shots on the Renfros, the Johnsons. Palmer, I guess, is the same ownership. I do prefer Palmer for the savings, though. I think he's my least favorite there. Trey Tucker, Jalen Guyton. I don't think Jalen Guyton might be the craziest play. If Palmer is on some sort of that snap count, I still think he ran like 15 routes.
One second, too, because this just reminded me now, because Scary said this. I'm almost positive. Someone could go look it up on Coach Speak Index. I'm almost positive Staley said he'll be back, but we'll be monitoring him. Like, he already said it. Why? To Scary's point, who knows? But I'm almost positive I saw those comments yesterday.
You did say that.
Well, that's also coming from Staley, who's a fucking moron. So, I mean,
he could play even less. Realistically, he could play even less.
He's playing every snap.
Or that.
All in. Every play. And special teams.
I can already cook it up in my head. This game's going way under. We're playing Dicker the kicker captain by the end of the show.
I actually don't mind that.
I'm already in. Let's go.
I
like that call, to be honest with you.
What about QJ? Title that's the other guy people want to talk. I know you were kind of hitting, but just keep going here. Go ahead.
No, I he's probably going to be 15-20%. I assume he's just been so disappointing, man. Like, the big play, he's a big play guy. I don't know, Easton Stick, throw him the ball. Like, at the end of the day, how I see it is Eckler's just going to get pounded with these short targets. Erickson in the slots. I don't really love the Palmers. Johnsons are fine. I don't have a strong take on them, so I'll probably just I don't want them to burn me. I say it all the time in MMA. Sometimes I have very strong leans on some fights. Sometimes I don't. So why ruin your night on a fight that could ruin? Like, why would I fade or go all in on Palmer Johnson when I really don't have too strong of a lean? So I'll be somewhere around the field there. I love wide receiver 3s. I'll be overweight on them. Jacoby Myers is really the one that's standing out to me. I don't think I get too much.
And the chat's already trying to jump ahead. Like, that's how bad they hate this slate, trying to talk about Donald Parham. Isn't he still, like, chance he doesn't even play tonight? Like, we'll have to wait and see. But
red zone, man.
Playing,
just red zone. Oh, you're saying, like, he's questionable.
He's active, he's not getting in the red zone if he's not playing. We'll have to wait and see. But he's still Q-tagged, so we'll have to see. Everyone's talking about QJ worked a lot with Stick in the preseason. I like the guy's nickname is just Stick. Stick and QJ in the preseason, just crushing it out there. And then
so many play on words for you there with that last name.
It's his
I'm
last.
Not going further with that one. I'm not going further with that one. But the other thing, DGA, our girl comes in and says, "Are y'all aware O'Connell played this game against LAC earlier this year? She wanted to remind us all about Davante Adams getting 13 targets for 75 yards. That's how bad it was. But yeah, at least he got peppered, so we kind of know that, and that's why we said earlier, like, for me, the quarterbacks that the captain, like when we talked about, I prefer the stick side because, again, I think there's more guys to spread it out to there versus I think if it's going to be on the Raiders side, you're going to see it be Devontae Adams or Myers. It's just those two are going to be, one of them is going to be the dude that would show up. I know he didn't use Myers that much last time, but that would qualify for there's no way that it could be Myers tonight instead of Adams. There's no way, but it definitely could be a way. Just throw it to whoever's there. So I don't know. I feel better about the wide receivers on that side. Hoop, do you have anything to add? Any other wide receivers you want to talk about? Anything you want to mention here? Someone said DeAndre Carter revenge game.
That's going deep. That's going.
That is going deep. I don't even see. Yeah.
That's going pretty damn deep. Yeah, I had not much to add. Like, I prefer these guys over the running backs that we talked about at similar price points. Like, I want Quentin Johnson and even Renfro over guys like Abdullah and Spiller. Palmer, Quentin Johnson, I do like a little bit. I think he's potentially a captain play for me, just the big play upside, which, I mean, he's whiffed a lot this season, don't get me wrong, but I think he caught what I said is like a 57-yarder or something last game. I'll take some chances on guys like that just to get like a little bit different in that captain spot. I agree with like the Erickson Renfro thing. I think they're very strong option guys. I don't know if I'll get to them much in the captain, but I'll definitely have a good chunk in the flex. I got to say it in regards to this Marino jersey. Our boy said that he'd trade me the Marino jersey for my Dak jersey. So we might have a deal. This might be off the market. I don't know if you saw that comment earlier.
I disregarded it because it's a giveaway. So I know
it's now a Hoop Warren Dak jersey instead of a Marino side, which is worth more.
It's like an Adam Sandler says, like, I see what you're trying to do there, and I don't like it. I don't.
He's gonna buy it off the winner.
Yeah,
not even ship it out. Just send him the PayPal.
Yeah.
That's at least an option. If somebody wins it and says, "Hey, Hoop, you want to buy it off me?
Yeah.
Work out a price." Okay, sure. Then I guess that would be legitimate. But we definitely have done a ton of giveaways, and we make sure they arrive on time or early.
My 9-year-old son, he's into collecting cards and jerseys and all this. So he saw me taking pictures in the basement. He goes, "Dad," he goes, can I have that jersey? I said, one of our, people at SHIPIT Nation is going to win it. He goes, "Well, can I have it?" I said, "Do you even know who it is?" He goes, "Marino." I said, "Yeah." I said, "Do you know him?" He goes, "No, but I want it."
Yeah, that's very fair. He's honest.
In terms of, just to wrap up these wide receivers, I agree with a lot of the same stuff. It is
Devontae or Eckler for you. I know Tambo mentioned it earlier. You said Devontae, right? Tambo?
I'm on Devontae's side of that one. Yeah, I'll play both. But I'm saying if I'm picking one, I would prefer Devontae.
Yeah. What about you?
Who knows? I mean, just put the names in a hat and pick one out. To be honest, that's how I feel about it. I just no strong lean. Get him his Twitter account.
You got to tell them, you got to get them on there. But anybody who doesn't know what we're talking about, if you're just joining us, appreciate you joining us on this Thursday afternoon. But we have a giveaway on our Twitter. Go to @ShipItNation. Just got to do these easy steps. Like the post, repost it, and follow us on there. That's it. You're in the draw for the autographed Dan Marino jersey. You can hang it up, give it away for Christmas, frame it, whatever you want to do. But if you want to get the bonus ballots, you got to hop over to our YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel @ShipItNation. We're 140 subscribers away over there. It's free to do so from giving away the annual membership, which is the $5.99 version. So if you guys see here, you go down here to annual, we'll be giving away one annual membership, and then we have 2 6-month memberships to give away as well. And Finkel and Einhorn. Somebody said they want the Einhorn jersey. So those that don't know that reference either, you're missing out. It's a great movie that you can go check out.
Title Pride, never seen that one.
You just always know. I mean, you don't even have to. I'll raise my hand on every movie. I don't watch.
You never seen.
That's how I am though too.
I watch sports, man.
Okay, but you're not going to go watch Home Improvement. Like when we make fun of you and say you're Wilson on Home Improvement, like Heidi Ho, neighbor, we get it. You're not going to go tune into a bunch of episodes of an old school TV show.
Yeah.
But a movie like Ace Ventura, a classic with Jim Carrey, it's hilarious. You can go watch the movie.
Let me add it to the notes. It's like 38 down there.
It's worth watching.
You got to do that one. I'm telling you. I'm not a movie. What's it called? Ace Ventura. I'm not a movie person. I'm not a TV show person either. Everyone will talk about the stuff. How have you not seen this? How do you not know? I don't do any of that stuff. I'm with you. That one you do need to watch though. Definitely need to watch.
It's on the list.
All
the best, man. Do not go in there and then
it is so good.
The demons. He figures it out. You're gonna love this movie, man. It's such a good classic. I'll stick with you, Title. Let's go. The chat wanted to talk about it. Maybe actually I'll go to Hoop because it's his lover. He loves Donald Parham. Let's hear about this guy. 2 touchdowns. He's Q-tag, but talk to us. You mentioned a little bit on Everett, and then obviously got to go to the other side of that game as well. I'm actually going back to see if we got any numbers from that first game, but talk to us about tight ends for a second here. Week 4, nothing out of Michael Myers, so nothing out of him there. Anything else you got at this spot?
Yeah, I mean, people were talking about Parham in the chat. I said that I'm in on Parham. I don't necessarily know if I'm in on Parham. I was just kind of going along with the joke. I mean, it's a much worse spot, obviously, without Herbert. He is questionable, so first off, we need to make sure he's in. But it's a good point. Like they could easily struggle to move the ball. You need Parham in the red zone to be effective. 2,800. There's a lot of cheap guys on the slate, so I don't necessarily love him. Probably won't have a lot, but I do like Everett. I think Everett is a guy that could kind of fill that Keenan Allen void in the middle of the field. I mean, Keenan Allen does a lot of work in the middle of the field, a lot of easy, short, quick passes. I think that could be Everett tonight. And then if they are playing from behind, it's a little added benefit for a guy like Everett. So I do like Everett a lot. Mayer, I'll have some of at 3,200. I think he's a fine play. But I don't like, really anyone else. I mean, Everett, by far my favorite tight end play. Some Mayer, and then, probably not much of the other guys.
The comments, man. I remember I was saying Heidi Ho neighbor, but forgot about Heidi. Yeah, that's another angle there. Someone says Canadian legend Jim Carrey. And then there's a Canadian legend could be Travis in here. And he won 10K the other night in the NBA streets. I know he won 100K just like a month and a half ago. So shout out to could be Travis. And he's got it mixed up. D-Dry probably owns a factory right now, like a chocolate factory or who knows what. But Double D has not come through for the last little bit here. So we are waiting for our guy. They wouldn't believe us, Hoop. There's no way someone could hand build 150 lineups, they told us. But there actually is a way. And I said, his name is Double D. He comes through every week on the show at least once or twice. And he does hand build 150 lineups. So it definitely still happens. And then the last one, where he said, watch Ace Ventura skip the game title. If you didn't get that one, that the guy told you. And then Hoop, your gun is digging into my hip from the movie Finkel and I. Man. You remember that?
I'm so bad. Like, that's one thing. I'm so bad with movie quotes. Like, even like my favorite movies, like I just don't remember the shit they say. I just know if it's good or not. So I'm glad you remember that one.
I love movie lines. Title, answer this one for our guy Scary real quick. Underdog, Debo or Lamb?
I mean, I don't know how I can fade Lamb at this point.
Yeah, I agree. I like the Lamb side better. Debo's awesome, been doing some stuff, but I prefer Lamb there. Title, do you got anything to add on tight end? I don't have much, but I will say I like the Everett play. I actually just, in my head, sometimes I just get that feeling or that thought, and I'm thinking about it. Like, I actually think, obviously, if they get behind in this game, even better, but I actually think it could be him that's sort of leading the way and moving the chains for them, as much as people want to take chances on all these wide receivers. And of course, Eckler on that side. Why not get some Everett up top and chop up maybe, who knows, 6-7 catches over the middle, maybe get in the box. Like, who knows what's going to be required on this slate. I actually have some interest in putting him into my captain pool as well.
So do you like him the most out of, because this range is tough for me. Quentin Johnston, 54, Everett, 52, Dicker, 5K, Abdullah, 48, which will be the lowest owned of all these guys. Carlson, 46, and the defense is Chargers, 44, Raiders, 42. I think ownership, again, outside of Abdullah, all relatively similar, within 10, 15% of each other. I don't know, man. What's your leans there? Because I do not have a strong take.
I agree. One thing I would say, because I do have interest in all of them, but one thing I would say is you're allowed, not against you, just in general, you're allowed to play more than one. So I'm definitely going to put some of these guys together. Like, you could have Everett in the captain with Abdullah in the flex, and it's Everett with Stick and Abdullah. Like, everyone puts up their mini cores or their examples of stacks you can use on a slate. And that's one I could say. Like, you could definitely make that work. So I think looking at it from that perspective is one thing, but two, what do I like? I don't like anything. That's the answer. Like, I don't even get the same feel as breaking this down. Why do you think I'm talking about so many movie quotes and shit? Is that it's like this slate is not one where I feel like I'm actually super excited about the opportunity for a unique winning it as much as it's possible. And I see why. I'm actually more concerned in my head that it's like a stupid unique that wins it with like 12-5 on the table and just something that I didn't get to or wouldn't have. And I don't try and figure those ones out. I'll leave thousands on the table, but to get those versions of it and know what they're going to be. So I'm going to trust my normal process and build it out. What I get, but I definitely do have interest in Everett. And I think more people would have interest in Johnston just because, they got the connection and all this other stuff. But I also like Dicker. Like you said, we're going to get to kickers and Ds in a second. I already made my points on the Ds. I've mentioned Dicker a couple times. I just think both these kickers are fine, but I prefer, still using them mixed in with these guys versus having to pick between them.
Yeah, no, I kickers are my favorite in this range. Like, I'm going to be playing some at captain too. Like, you expect a really gross game, 2 backup quarterbacks that can't finish it in the red zone. You can see a lot of settled field goals in a dome. As far as the tight end position, yeah, I'm good with Everett for sure. Michael Mayer's been so disappointing, but around 10% ownership, tight end 1. Chargers have been beaten by tight ends, 3,200. So he is cheaper than the kickers, the defenses, the Everett, the Johnsons. I'll be playing some Meyer. He's on the field. Parham, yeah, Hoop had the legendary call. I don't think I can do that. Hooper, I don't know. He's $800. I mean, who else is down here at 800? Sub 1K. Let's take a look at who's available. Man, it is so gross down here. Yeah, I don't even know if I need Austin Hooper. At the end of the day, Meyer, Everett, it's really all you need to do at tight end. Looking at these, so everyone keeps talking about Quentin Johnson, though. I want to read off these receiving props. Eckler, 31.5. Devontae, 68.5. Everett, 28.5. Renfro, 25.5. Jacoby Myers, 44.5. Palmer, 34.5. Meyer, 19.5. Quentin Johnson, 29.5. It doesn't get any grosser than that, but Myers, 19.5. Quentin Johnson's 29.5. Renfro's only a 4.5 point difference. Like, this is where I'm just the Everett, like, good with Everett, good with Johnson, all them. But I think you can go those guys and just take them out, plug in Renfro, take them out, plug in Meyer. That leaves 2, 3, 4K. And again, that can get you from a 100-weight chop to a 10-weight chop. But you could be talking plenty cheese. So the props are so close. I mean, who knows? It's 2 backup quarterbacks. The sample's not really big enough. Just when you win, how much do you win? So that's how I'm going to be playing today. But yeah, the kickers are my favorite in that range. Everett, fine. Probably be overweight more Meyer than I will Everett because of the ownership, to be honest.
And then the other question is, do the prop makers even know, because they just throw the numbers out because they're like, let's make this easy. Like, we actually don't know shit either on this one. So let's just make them all similar and let the public decide and go from there. And whoever gets it right, gets it right. So,
but I do trust them because they're taking a hell of a lot more money than anybody else who's taking money on it. Sure. So I'm with you though.
It's funny. I agree 100%. Hoop, anything else you want to add there? If not, kickers, D's, you guys can start throwing your scores into the chat. And then Hoop will also talk FanDuel after, but go kickers, D's first if you got anything to add on them.
Well, first I will say that is 100% true, but that is everybody doing that same thing. Salary doesn't mean much, white right there. So you definitely don't need to go down there. And yes, another day and in a while, always B-ball content.
We got it. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Definitely.
Definitely like the kickers over the defenses. Really like Dicker. I mean, I think Dicker's a phenomenal play. He's missed one field goal all season long, and Carlson has a big leg too. So I'm very interested in both kickers. Defense, I'll do my standard. I'll be underweight on them. Won't be fading just because of how nasty this game could potentially be, but I will be underweight on both the Raiders and the Chargers defense. And in terms of what sort of ownership they get, again, it's always higher. It's always higher than anyone's projecting out there. So keep that in mind. Over on FanDuel, just kind of pulling this up for the first time. Oh, okay. So yeah, stick is 5K. So that's the first thing that stands out. I'm looking at this for the first time. Easton stick. There it is. $5,000 for a nice little Easton hockey stick there. He will be, I don't know, like just massively owned. A quarterback at 5K. Tough to avoid, obviously. But he'll get a lot of ownership. The pricing is beyond soft, obviously, because of these quarterbacks. Eckler's the most expensive at 14K. Devontae Adams, 12.5. You'll just see straight all-star teams with stick. It's going to be stick with Eckler, O'Connell, Adams. They did get Zamir White up there, which is surprising. They have him at 10K, which I don't know. I guess it probably depends on when their pricing came out. But all these fringe guys are going to come in lower owned because of the Austin stick. So guys like Palmer's 5. Why does FanDuel even offer a package for Showdown? Joshua Palmer's 5K as well. I don't know, just whatever, man. Do we really need to talk about it anymore?
Wait, stick. I'm seeing stick 13K. Palmer 5K.
All right,
Am I looking at it wrong?
Maybe
Let me pull up the actual FanDuel app.
Yeah, pull it up and see.
Palmer's 5K. I do see stick at 13K though.
This is not a serious show today. This is really not.
Well, if you play FanDuel in general, I mean, Showdown.
Yeah, whatever.
It's tough out there.
We're honest with the people. I really don't. We're not talking anymore FanDuel today. Like, I don't care. Just play whatever you want. It's stupid. The setup's dumb.
It is dumb.
The thing is, there's definitely like actionable content here. What we're saying is not just that it's a bad game. It's like how we apply it. It's all going to come down to how you apply it and making it make sense. At the end of the day, you have to start with your captains. I think that's one of the spots we already talked about where it's like if you can just get different at captain, you could probably do it. But like there's legitimate stuff. Like there's other shit that can happen today that's just gonna mess everything up. So it's like maybe it is a spot like we always say, like, oh, you got to grind every slate and play it. There's no way you could just play lighter or take a slate off. I'm not taking a slate off, I can tell you that, but it's NFL. You got to play through it. But you do have to keep this stuff top of mind. If you don't feel as strongly about it, or you don't feel as comfortable with it, it's okay to play a little bit less or gamble a little bit more because you're playing a little bit less and say, you know what, I'm going to play a little bit less, but I'm going to gamble. I'm going to think that Jimmy G comes into the game, or I'm going to play no Zamir White because everybody's on him and I'm going to do that on my 20 lineups, or I'm going to go all in on a captain like Gerald Everett and hope that it's him. And if he gets a touchdown and 7 catches tonight, it's a big game. That's going to break the slate that way. And I got 20 outs to it in my $3.20 max with 100K up top, which by the way, you all should be playing in that. So Title, I'll let you find the first score or any comments that you want to keep the fun going here, making fun of people and old school movie appearances and Easton Sticks. But I'm going to talk about this real quick. As always, use and run the sims. Go to the Showdown Captain mode. We're going to plug in the score. We're going to put in the settings, which are 10,000 simulations. We're going to get our optimal results and go through it all with you guys. Title, what do you got for the first score that we're going to pull?
I was going to do 16. I don't know if that'll get us weird with field goals. I feel like, what about that? What do you think? 17 or 16? It's up to you.
17. 16 will probably get the kickers in
or like
there.
a safety, so like defenses might be. I don't know.
All right, 17-13. Let's run this out. What did Tokyo say? Tokyo had a good thought here. Let's see. I'm just playing this straight up. Like nothing is going to happen, going to get different. But that's not, I mean, that's like the majority. We're in a bubble here, making fun of shit, putting up sticks on the page, talking about Ace Ventura. Everyone's playing it straight up. No one's getting weird tonight. It's just we're talking about that because we have nothing better to make fun of than this. Like it's just one of those stupid slates. So, yeah, playing it straight up is going to be like everybody else. And that's why you're going to see those captains very condensed, doing all that. It is what it is. That's definitely how it's
that stick ownership's wrong. So just definitely, he ain't gonna be 3, or unless you disagree, Tambo. But
no, he'll be higher than that for sure.
Yeah, he's gonna be higher. I kind of like agree that I think these are closer to right. Like I really think people are gonna get heavy on these guys. Maybe not as high, but yeah, Zamir White may be higher than this.
That'll be higher, I think, maybe.
But you can still see, even if Stick's 50% in the flex and let's just say 6 at captain, I mean, it still likes it at both captain and the flex. So you can plug in the number. Go ahead. That sticks out. Surprised Tambo hasn't got to that one yet.
Yeah, you know he's got so many ready to roll. He just doesn't want to do it today. He doesn't have it in him today.
Man, it's really tough on this one. Like I'm trying to have as much fun as possible, keep things engaged, host and move along. But like honestly, yeah. We'll see. Play plan will be up. It'll be dialed after I get off this. I'm really gonna hone in and get everything finalized and have it all up on the site. But yeah, like this to me at least looks right though. Like these numbers can be wrong on the captain ownership. For those that haven't seen it, it's the player, the position, their price, what Run the Sims has them at as a flex ownership, what Run the Sims has them at in the captain. Then it's their total combined number, which is obvious. And then it's in the simulations, the 10,000 Sims, how often do they show up in the optimal lineup? Well, the flex, Easton Stick showing up 53% of the time, 23 at the captain in this result of a 17-13 Chargers win. And then total rate, same, and then shows where the leverage is at. But I do think this is right, Title. Like these are your captains tonight.
Yeah, I agree. I just
drops off a cliff. You just have to figure out how you're dispersing it up here. What do you see? Like with these numbers, where do you see them coming in at roughly?
I think Sticks could probably be like 50 something in the flex, 50%. Captain's not the craziest, maybe 6, but like Abdul is smashing the page. Like I don't think he comes in 3% in the flex and no percent in the captain. So it's always, I mean, when something feels too good to be true, it probably is. When you see something way out there, 40% leverage, all like something probably is a little different. You don't want that. Like, I just don't know how he'd come in 3 and 32%, but that's the main one. I do agree with you though. Stick or Devontae, the Zamir Whites, the Ecklers are by far going to be the highest, and it has that. Maybe I think Zamir might be a little higher in the captain. It was mainly just the flex for Stick really stuck out, and then Abdullah.
The Stick stuck out. I will say this: this is low, way too low. But I also think one of the challenges with this getting very high in captain is that who do you like? People obviously you can plug in Eckler as a receiver and you fit him because you have the money. But after that, I don't know if people feel as comfortable because again, it's where it gets uncomfortable for most is like Everett, Johnston, Palmer, Parham, if he plays, Guyton, Erickson, like they just don't feel as good about that. So to me, it's going to be the other way around. The chat mentioned like you could go O'Connell captain instead. And, you know, he shows negative leverage here in this game flow, but it's a 17-13 game. If you think people are going to play Adams and people are going to play Zamir White, then O'Connell would be perfect leverage right there in the middle as far as price, right there in the leverage spot of you can still get Devontae Adams and Zamir White in there. So yeah, I like that call too. I guess that's an angle. I feel better about Stick just because I thought less people would be on him. I still think that's true, not to that number of 3%, but I do kind of like that angle that was brought up. And there he is, the man, much more important than anything else we're talking about, but popping in with the factory to say good luck. 0 lineups. Even our guy Double D is not interested in this. Throw in a pinch at Copenhagen and hammer out as many as I can. Adams captain for the win. And then Paul came through with it. Stick it, nation.
Hey, there we go.
We got, if
I might have to get some
tonight, you got to tag me.
I might have to get some of him in the captain now.
He's got a higher rushing prop than Joshua Kelly.
Really? What is it?
19.5. He has a little.
Really?
I wouldn't call wheels, but you can
I'm
move.
interested.
Move a bit.
I'm gonna play some. Maybe I wasn't gonna, but now I'm gonna play.
Jimmy's not even gonna get nothing. Like people are talking about it. It's just in this bubble, and they're not even gonna go there. I'm saying it. Title's saying it. Are you actually gonna play Jimmy G?
No, I hope for my best. The only thing is, like, if O'Connell's really bad, I wouldn't be surprised if they do that. But you need so much to go right, and you're still not guaranteed to win anything. So no, I'm not gonna do it. But it does limit it makes me like Stick way more than O'Connell. There's no doubt about that. But no.
Yeah. All right, Hoop, what score you got, man? Let's go back. I don't have anything else to add here with this one. We can do one more score that's give the people their over that they're asking for. The Raiders and an over. Try and find a Raiders over.
24-21 Raiders. How about that?
They did like the Chargers side, but they've been wrong on that every time. So let's say they're right on the over, but they're wrong on the side. So let's go 25. No, we need to beat them by more than 3, though. It can't be a push. 27-21?
Yeah.
27-21. Yeah. Here you go, you over sickos. 48 points on the board here. Just going to jump it up. 27-21 for the Raiders.
Tweezy thinks Adams will stick out. It definitely will have stick out. Outside
God, we got to end this show immediately.
Is that a play on words? Is that a play on words or a coincidence?
No,
Easton definitely sticks out. Look at this.
Stick out. So I'm using the same word and saying the dude's last net. Yeah, no, we got to quit doing that.
All right. Easton Stick. We get it. It's going to pump him up. Either way, no matter what you think this captain gets to, like it does like him. So we'll go from there. But like O'Connell pops up in this build. So the more points we get, funny enough is Adams. I don't know if these numbers are good either, 40 and 25, but still, he goes under on both, right? So it's still, he's in there a bunch, 62% overall, but he's under on both. Zamir White pops up more often. Eckler just gets crushed in this one for whatever reason. If I go back to the inputs, I'm just curious. Eckler, 47% of the rush market share and 45% of the touchdown rushing. Only, I guess that's fair though, like almost 15% for the pass catching. It's about right. So it just doesn't like Eckler as much as others might. And then Palmer is another guy. Palmer and Abdullah get some boost there. Title, anything more you see with this one?
No, it's not like in the Quinston Johnsons, the defenses. Oh, obviously the defense in a script like this. No, nothing really sticks out. I'm still scroll down a bit. Let's see the Ericksons, the Renfros of the world. That was the last thing. And the
forgot about that. You know what? You could play the ick lineup. The all ick lineup is what? It's Stick, Erickson, and
Dicker.
Yeah, Dicker the kicker. Get the triple ick on and play those three in the same lineup together. What do you see down here? Daniel Carlson, the worst play on the board.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. They just very small leverage. The Spillers, the Tuckers, the Erickson's, I guess, a little negative.
This is no, we did 21 points, right? 3 touchdowns, sorry, we did 27 for them. So it's like close enough that it might be the reason why. But yeah,
4,600. If the game's going over that much, you'd expect someone in that range, the Johnsons, the Everett, somewhere in that range, probably to outscore them. But yeah, nothing too surprising. I'm coming in with the same plan I had. I like, I guess, broad slate overview to wrap it up right here. I like I don't like O'Connell as much. I like the other side. I like the wide receiver 3s, the Ericksons, the Renfros. I'll definitely be playing Adams, Eckler. Love the kickers. Probably won't have Zamir White at captain. That'll be one of my big stands. And yeah, I mean, just it's a gross game. I'll be leaving money on the table like always and trying to mix in a low one piece or two. So when I do win, hopefully it is with as few people as possible. But I'd love to share with anybody watching or YouTube.
Yeah, I like this comment too. Just remember the Raiders lost 3-0 last game. This might be a 10-point total tonight that we end up seeing. We'll see. But I will try and say something actionable, and then I'll let Hoop get his final thoughts. One way I use this tool as well is, and Title already hit on this earlier, just naturally, just saying it, but this tool does help me with this kind of thought, is like the total rate matters. You know what I say all the time? Like someone goes here and goes, oh, it hates Adams because it shows a -5 at captain and it shows a -2. It still loves him. He's still 20% of the time showing up in the captain. He's showing up in almost 65% of the lineups. It doesn't hate him. It just, you see a negative and you think that. But what I look at is down here, Title 2, where it's like what you said. You just don't need those guys. Like they're not showing up in 10,000 simulations in any build. And this score, the other score that we showed, you can run a bunch of different scores. It's saying that the lineup is up here and it's not what's going to happen. It's just saying over the long term. So if you're playing this game that way, then you plan on being in it for a while. I do look at that a little bit more. That would be actionable to me, that I don't see a lot of these one-offs even being required unless they do something substantial in this game. Like one touchdown, everyone always thinks, oh, they're going to be needed now, but they might not. Like you still see a lot of volume guys up here and quarterbacks and running backs and receivers and tight ends and stuff that could just outdo them by the end of the game. So that would just be my final thoughts.
Yeah, I think that was very sharp. I mean, salary doesn't mean, if you want to click all the spends, you get the Ecklers, you get the Adams, the quarterbacks, but it falls off pretty quickly. And with your starting running back on a favorite team at 3K, you really don't need all these cheapies down below. Again, I'll mixing and matching them because they'll be so much lower owned. And when they hit, like you said, if Parham catches 1 for 10 and he falls in the box, White can easily still outscore him. What if he runs 20 rushes for 100 yards and he gets the bonus that way? So yeah, I mean, it's the big thing is whoever you're punting with, is how I'm looking at it, needs to be able to outscore Zamir White is kind of what I'm thinking down here.
Yeah, and also to that point is if you are going to go Zamir White captain heavy tonight, which I understand why you might, and you want to do it differently, that's when I would then revert to this also. Again, it's like my angle I always say with our NBA projections or any of our projections on the site. It's like, well, you said trust the projections. That means I want to jam the guy that's the top value on the site. Well, sometimes I'm getting information from that I'm using in a lot of places, but I'm also leveraging off that, knowing that everyone else is going there. When I'm seeing that nobody is really playing these plays because they're not popping in sims, they're not popping in projections, they're not doing anything else, then these would actually be the plays I would try and make sense with the lineups where I'm using a Zamir White captain if I was going there. So that's kind of the point too, where you can use these to your advantage in more ways than one. Hoop, I'll kick it over to you, man. Final thoughts on anything else for the slate? Obviously, we've got the Marino giveaway. Lots going on over at SHIPITNation.com. Anything on the slate first, and then anything from a marketing perspective that you want to talk about before we get out of here?
On the slate, yeah, have fun with it. Enjoy. It just seems very high variance. I'm going to dig in a little bit more here and get my content up pretty quickly here after the show. See what I can find. It is refreshing to know that in terms of the captain ownership, it's 3 guys. Like it is 3 guys that are going to soak up all the ownership at captain. So it is a slate where you can just immediately get different. And I think that's something that we can potentially use to our advantage. So I'm going to, tidy up my captain pool when we get off the show, and all the content will be up, pretty quickly here. And then in terms of what we're offering. It's a big weekend. Like I said, we have the 3-game Saturday slate, myself and Tambo recording that show tomorrow afternoon. So make sure to tune into that or watch it back. We have the big UFC pay-per-view. Title and Marley will be doing that show, and all their content will be up. And then the full main slate on Sunday. So it's a big weekend in our community, and we got you covered for all of it. So make sure to get over to SHIPITNation.com.
Yeah, you guys can use promo code Mayo too if you want to get 10% off. I'll throw it up in a second. But again, projections for all the major sports here. You've got a lot going on in NFL. We've got both set up this weekend. Like Hoop said, we're going to have our normal core reports, the player pool, the slate plan, stack rankings, DVP, everything up for the 3-gamer. We're going to have some showdown coverage on Saturday night for the Denver-Detroit game. Hoops Super Bowl champion Detroit Lions, future Super Bowl champs at home for the evening game there. It is a staggered slate. It's not going to be like Monday. It's more like Thanksgiving, so that you guys are getting back-to-back games with some late swap opportunities, all of that. We're going to be recording that show tomorrow. It'll be live. There'll be some giveaways, some money, some memberships, things like that. So check that show out over on the Ship It Nation YouTube station. Again, only 150 or 140 subscribers away from giving away that annual membership. And then we'll flip this quick flip on Saturday afternoon over to Sunday, where we'll have all the main stuff covered for you as well. NBA full on right now, everything going. The ceiling rankings are up for our fellow members that are watching. The correlation sheet is in a little beta test right now. It's coming out very soon. It may be as soon as Monday that you'll get that. So be excited for that. PGA is coming back just a couple weeks away, just after Christmas, starting the new year off. We'll have the Tournament of Champions the first week of January. Sony Open is where we're going to kick things off with everything else, but we'll probably have the projections still up for Tournament of Champions. So you guys have that. I believe it's the last pay-per-view of the year, is it, title for MMA that we're going to get. NHL, our guy Nades out there running the streets every night. Our guy Smarty and Co. and everybody else and all the members running those other channels right now for college basketball, college football, soccer. Big slate coming up, Boxing Day slate for soccer. I know Kim and Jack were talking about it this morning and others in the Discord. So lots going on over at Ship It Nation. What's this final one? Read it off here.
So not only should the students be supporting the Ship It Nation community, but drivers in Indiana should as well, because no speeding tickets while Ship It Nation is live. So you love to see that.
That is dope.
Oh man, Tom Pullins, man. Just awesome. Well, we're pulling for you tonight, Tom. We appreciate you, and everybody out there is looking to have a good night on this slate. We got to bring more enthusiasm, someone said, for next time, but we did our best. I thought lots of good stuff, lots of actionable items that you guys can take. We'll have you all covered and more over at ShipItNation.com. Do us a favor on that way out. Smash the like, subscribe to the channel. Go to the Marino draw for the autographed Dan Marino jersey on our Twitter. Go to our YouTube channel at Ship It Nation. Subscribe there, and if you want to get set up at Ship It Nation, use that promo code Mayo to get you 10% off. For Title, for Hoop, for myself, ToeTagginTambo. Let's ship it. Let's stick it.